So in this first assignment, what you had to do was to study Ikea, their operations strategy decisions. Specific questions that I had put in this assignment were identify order qualifiers and winners and the trade-offs in the order qualifiers and winners that Ikea is trying to satisfy in terms of its customer needs. Identifying the operational capabilities that are going to in turn give those order qualifiers and winners to the customers. And finally, develop operation strategy choices that would help. The instructions that you were given for this assignment was, if you haven't visited the store, if you visited the store, you can use some of the information that you may have from it, but even then, you could refer to the internet. But if you haven't visited to the store at all, it was especially important for you to go on the internet, look up information on this company, and I did check there's a substantial amount of information available about this company and the way they operate. So I'd asked you to take a look at that. And then what I'd also asked you to do is make some inferences. For instance, if you don't know the trade-offs that they're making, you can see the order qualifiers and winners, but you can make some inferences about what they are not offering customers, and those would be the trade-offs. And then in the final question, I'd asked you to think of the operation strategy choices that Ikea would have been making. So if you were Ikea and you were, if you were running Ikea and you were going after these order qualifiers and winners and operations capabilities, what are the kind of operation strategy decisions that you would make? So there were some inferences, what would you do kind of thinking that would have gone into answering these questions. So let's start with what is Ikea? So they're a retailer that originated in Sweden, had very small beginnings, but now has presence in several countries, has several stores worldwide. So international presence, and owns and operates the stores in several countries, either itself or through subsidiaries. So there are some complicated organizational structure kind of information out there, but at the end of the day, they own and operate quite a few of their stores all over the world. What do they sell? They basically sell everything that you might put into a home in terms of furniture, furnishings, your kitchen utensils. You can build a whole kitchen out of material that you buy from Ikea. So basically all kinds of home goods stuff, if we can call it that. So that's the background of the company for you. In terms of the order qualifiers, what would customers be seeking if they were visiting an Ikea? So the first one that comes to mind is prices, right? What kind of prices are customers expecting when they go into an Ikea? And what you can see is they're pretty much going after low to moderate prices, or although they have different ranges of products. In some particular products, they even offer a higher priced range, but pretty much low to moderate. Can't say that they're a luxury furniture kind of supplier. Order qualifier for them would be a consistency in product performance, quality conformance, right? The product has to be exactly the same, whichever Ikea you purchase it from, and it has to conform to its specifications because there's a lot of self-assembly. So it has to be exactly the right size and things like that. All the fittings have to be in there, all the screws have to be in there for you to assemble it on your own. There is the idea of self-service in the store. So the kind of customer that goes to an Ikea is used to this idea of going and getting their own stuff, choosing their own stuff from the showroom, and even going to the aisles and getting the heavy stuff on their own. And that could be an order qualifier. If you're a customer who likes doing that and doesn't want to be bothered by salespeople, that would be an order qualifier, something that customers prefer. Self-assembly, once again, it's going after the customer who is willing and perhaps even likes to do that self-assembly. Although there are stories about stress in relationships over assembly of Ikea furniture. I'll put a few links at the end of the slides where you can find that kind of information, some stories about couples getting into huge arguments because of trying to assemble Ikea furniture together. But that aside, the order qualifier would be self-assembly for Ikea furniture. Order winners. Why would customers for the same type of product go to an IKEA versus a competitor? So even though it's moderate price, the level of style is high, and not only that, you have a range available even within that. So there's high, medium, low prices, and they also have this notion of a breathtaking item. And it wasn't clear to me from my readings, at least, what a breathtaking item is. But I think it's either breathtaking item from a price perspective or from wowing you in terms of what the product is. Innovative designs. They're certainly about designs that are different from what you would see in some conventional furniture stores. So they have that particular touch that you can see in IKEA furniture. Some amount of customizability. Although you're not able to change the upholstery on a particular chair and things like that, you can't ask them to change it for you, but there's some amount of customizability that automatically comes from it being self-assembly. And finally, it's a different in-store experience. So it's when you go to an IKEA store, you get you can have a family expedition out there. You can spend the whole day. You have a nice food area. It has a nice linear way in which you go through the whole store, and then it also has child care facilities that you can use. So it becomes a nice all-family shopping experience from that perspective, right? So that would be an order winner as to why you would go to this store in order to get some budget furniture. Trade-offs that seem apparent based on what we're seeing in the order qualifiers and winners. So what are they not offering? Why would a customer not go to IKEA and go to a different store? Is restricted customization, right? So IKEA is pretty much not going after the customer who wants to take a particular piece of furniture and ask the manufacturer to customize it for them. They're not about that. You don't get much room design assistance. There are people there who are assisting you in terms of information, in terms of where you can find things and putting pieces together. However, they're not a furniture store that you can go to and say, can you come to my place and help me design, or here's my here are the dimensions of my room, can you help me design it? That's not what you're expecting when you go to the store. There's very little assistance in terms of pickup from the aisles. In fact, it's a big challenge in terms of going there and having to load material into your car. Should you leave the cart there and go get the car while there's nobody watching it if you've gone there by yourself, or what should you do? Because in a lot of stores, at least in the US, you can't take the cart to the car, and that becomes an issue. So there's little assistance. That's a trade-off. Customers who expect that are not going to go there. Limited delivery and assembly services. Again, there are stories, horror stories of IKEA delivery because that's not something that they're focusing on, and that's a trade-off that they're willing to make. That they're not a delivery company. They're not we will assemble it for you company. They're outsourcing those things, and they don't seem to, at least on the basis of some of the articles, they don't seem to pay too much attention to these kinds of services. So those are conscious trade-offs that they're making in terms of they're not offering these things to customers. Let's look at the other side of the coin of order qualifiers and winners, and that's operations capabilities. So in order to offer these order qualifiers and winners, what do they do? What do they do from an operations perspective? So here there's some information, but there's also some inference from what you can see in terms of the order qualifiers and winners. So obviously, they're offering low to moderate prices, so they have to be designed for low cost. They not only design it for low cost, but I could find an example of a particular mug that they make, in which they designed the mug so that more would fit on a pallet, with the result that more could be shipped altogether, more could be stored in a particular crate, and that was beneficial in terms of reducing their cost. So it was around 60 cents of a cost, and not only in terms of transportation, but the redesign also helped in terms of fitting more in the baking kiln for making those coffee mugs. So you can see that they're focusing a lot on low cost in all areas in terms of production, as well as inventory storage, as well as transportation. Low cost because it's modular and self-assembled. That makes it low cost automatically. And they're also about sustainable and recycled materials. Now, that gives them a good image from the point of view of being a company that cares about recycling and sustainability, although I did find some articles that were actually talking about that being a issue, right? So, yes, the recycling and sustainability was a plus, but it was also a minus. They do it more from the point of view of even reduction in cost. Lower packaging costs because of the way they store it in the stores, and because of the way they transport it, and then lower costs of handling in stores, again, because it's stored in the aisles and then customers go and get it, right? Other operations capabilities from a supply chain perspective. Strategic sourcing, they don't make their own stuff, but they buy it from suppliers all over the world, low-cost suppliers, high-volume suppliers. They manage their supply base so that they can keep up their quality while designing their own stuff. So they have this notion of the I way, which is the Ikea way of purchasing home furnishing products, that they have a policy of how they purchase from their suppliers. And they have a sophisticated inventory management system that they use. In terms of their operation strategy choices, so what are the decisions that they would have made? You can think of these the decisions as that they would have had to make in order to go after these auto qualifiers and winners and to build competitive capabilities in these particular areas. So one of the things that they would have had to think about is location of stores, but also the size and the layout of stores. Given the given the variety of offerings, they would have had to pay attention to the layout of the stores and the size of the stores, and also the location to some extent. Product design, there was information out there that I could see about that they do their own product design. That's something that they don't outsource. And this makes sense because they're going after conformance quality. They're going after making products that look innovative, although they are moderately priced. They outsource the production, not surprisingly, to get low prices from high volumes. The role of catalogs and manuals would be very important for somebody like Ikea, especially because it's standardized across the world, and then you have this idea of assembling it on your own. So those would have to be very precise and breaking the language barrier. So again, you can see this from the instructions that you get with their products, that they're using a lot of figures instead of using language in order to explain how to assemble a particular product. So they would be thinking about those in terms of coming up with their catalogs and manuals. Innovation focus as well as conformance focus. So innovation from coming up with new designs, keeping it fresh for customers so that they keep coming back, but also conformance to specifications. And finally, central coordination of production. So if you think about the elements of operations strategy decisions, you can see that Ikea would have had to pay attention to all of these if they're going to succeed based on their operations, which they have. So you can see operation strategy playing a huge role in the success of Ikea.